All right, tonight it's the title fight we've all been waiting for. In one corner, we have OpenAI's ChatGPT, and in the other, Google's Gemini. We put them through a brutal 5-round head-to-head test using the exact same prompts. So who's going to come out on top? Let's find out. So who really is the reigning champ of visual AI? Is it the one that builds these incredible cinematic worlds? Or is it the one that's a master of grounded realism? By the time we're done here, you're not just going to know who won the fight. You'll know exactly which tool you should be using for your next project. And I mean, look at this. Right out of the gate, on the very first prompt, you can see their entire personalities laid bare. On the left, ChatGPT just builds this entire epic cinematic universe from scratch. Then on the right, Gemini looks like it took a real photograph and just stuck its AI brain on top. We're talking two totally different philosophies at play here. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. We've set it up like a 5-round fight for visual supremacy. And for each round, we're going to score them on a few things. How accurate were they to the prompt? How creative was the result? And maybe most importantly, is the final image actually something you could use? Round 1, the challenge: create this really complex, futuristic scene that blends AI with the chaos of high finance. We asked for a circuit board brain floating over a stock trading floor with data streams, cinematic lighting, the works. It's a tough first test, for sure. And boom, the bell rings. You can see the results right here. On the left, ChatGPT's output is just, wow. It feels like a legit movie poster. It's breathtaking. On the right, Gemini's is, it's impressive, but it definitely feels more like someone added an effect to a real photo. For just pure execution of that cinematic vision, the winner of round 1 is pretty clear. So here's the deal. ChatGPT understood that the prompt was about creating an entire world, a whole vibe. It built the trading floor, the data streams, the AI brain, and it all fits together in one cohesive, epic scene. Gemini, on the other hand, it kind of did more of a collage, It grounded its image in a real-world photo. So point goes to ChatGPT. Okay, so after that first round, the contenders start trading blows over the next few rounds. And this is where things get really interesting. We're going to speedrun through rounds 2 and 3, but listen up because the results are super important. In round 2, Gemini lands this surprise knockout with its insane hyperlocal realism. It created a café scene that was so specific you could tell it was in Peterborough, Ontario, right down to a university tote bag. Wild. But then in round 3, ChatGPT took the point for generating surprisingly readable legal text on a screen. Gemini's text was just total gibberish. Okay, on to round 4, and you're not going to believe this. The prompt is literally a boxing ring. The request was really specific: an overhead shot, post-fight mess, empty arena, all in that moody, atmospheric style of the director Denis Villeneuve. And wow, this one image just perfectly sums up the difference between these two tools. ChatGPT, on the left, it gives us exactly what we asked for. One single, powerful, lonely frame that feels like it was ripped straight out of a movie. It's perfect. Gemini did something else entirely. Yeah, instead of that one powerful shot, Gemini delivered a triptych. 3 almost identical panels. It completely shatters that lonely, singular feeling we asked for in the prompt. I mean, for what we needed, it's basically an unusable result. All right, here we go. The final round. This is a real test of surreal creativity and, just following instructions. The prompt is for a door, just standing in a modern field of grass, but the door is open, and when you look through it, you see a bustling 1920s Paris street in sepia. It's a complex idea, and it needs precision. And look at that. Once again, ChatGPT on the left just nails it. 1 door, 2 worlds. The color contrast is perfect. It's exactly what was asked for. Gemini on the right, well, it's another major misfire. Oof. I mean, Gemini's attempt here is a spectacular triple fail. First, we get that triptych thing again instead of one image. Second, it just invented modern wind turbines and put them in the 1920s Paris skyline? What? And third, and this is just bizarre, it literally printed the text of our prompt directly onto the image itself. Just a total failure. So after 5 rounds, the fight is over. It's time to go to the judge's decision. Let's break down the official scorecard. So if you look at how it all breaks down, ChatGPT just runs the table on prompt accuracy, cinematic quality, and the big one, consistency. Now, to be fair, Gemini takes some important wins in documentary realism and that amazing local specificity we saw in the cafe scene. But yeah, the columns for consistency and just following instructions, they are overwhelmingly in ChatGPT's corner. And that brings us to the final score. And it's a decisive victory, 4 rounds to 1, in favor of ChatGPT. So look, the biggest thing here wasn't even about which one looks better. It was about reliability. ChatGPT consistently gave us one precise image that actually followed the prompt. Gemini's a weird habit of making these triptychs and just misunderstanding complex instructions. Well, it made it fundamentally unreliable for any job that needed a specific result. But, and this is super important, this isn't about declaring one tool is dead and the other is king. Not at all. It's about understanding their core strengths so you can pick the right champion for your project. Honestly, if you remember one thing from this whole thing, make it this. ChatGPT built. It creates these epic cinematic worlds out of thin air. Gemini grounds. It takes an idea and plants it firmly in reality with a documentary feel and real-world details. So, when do you use which one? Well, think about it like this. If you need a dramatic, eye-popping YouTube thumbnail or some kind of hero image for a big campaign, you're going to reach for ChatGPT. But what if you need a visual for a local business or documentary-style content that has to feel authentic? That's where Gemini is your tool. For complex ideas, it's ChatGPT. For that behind-the-scenes realism, it's Gemini. So the final question isn't really about who won. It's about you. What does your story need? Are you going to build an entirely new world from your imagination, or are you going to ground your idea in the reality of our own? The choice is yours.